Hello there, here is part 3 of my mortar pit tutorial. As you can see, I've undercoated the entire model with a black undercoat. This will help bring out the earthy tones that I'm going to add on the majority of this scene. I've made a few colour charts ready to help select the colours that I'm going to be using Vallejo, Revel, Umbral and Games Workshop paints. What I finally decided to do was use emulsion based paints from the local DIY store. They'll be ideal for this scenario, terrain piece, because most terrain pieces are plaster or cement based products. The colours that I finally chose: a black primer undercoat or a soft black emulsion, or even a dark brown burnt umber would do as a base coat. Following that, the second coat is going to be a colour that I found on a Dulux range of paints called Nigerian Sands. Believe it or not, this is a close match to Dark Flesh from Games Workshop. They come in varying shades, 1 to 5. I've chose shade 1. 250ml pots from the £3 a test pot. The woman who mixed them obviously thought that I got some strange colours for my living room. Didn't exactly tell her what I was using them for. Number 2, the third coat, another dry brush, is going to be a Dulux paint again called Wild Mushroom. Again, the closest match I can find this is Swamp Brown from Games Workshop again. I don't think that Games Workshop actually makes Swamp Brown anymore. I've matched it as close as I can. It's an old pot that I've had for some years. Like I said, both of them have different shades. Go with shade 1, which is the first on the colour charts. The final dry brush, the fourth coat, is going to be a blend. I couldn't exactly get it to match. I wanted to use Vermin Brown, and what I've done is managed to get 2 test paints from Crown Emulsion. One is called Rich Blend and the other is Seville Orange. I found that when I mix the two together I can vary the shades and get as near as damn it to a Vermin Brown as I need. Those are my 4 main colours. Like I said, if you didn't want to use black, you could use a burnt umber or a dark browny black. Play about with them, see what suits you best. Mine's obviously going to be an earthen scene. You may want to make a desert effect, so obviously you'd use the appropriate colours, or you may want to do an alien landscape or a fantasy landscape with lava flows and lava pits. So we're looking at basically an undercoat, 3 dry brushes and a final highlight. The final highlight that I'm going to use is Games Workshop Bleach Bone. The sandbags themselves, I'm going to use 2 coats of Umbral paints that I've had for some time. I've mixed them up and made the appropriate colours to my own liking. Alternatively, you could use Vallejo flat earth or dark sand, followed by Iraqi sand as a dry brush and a bleached bone highlight. So, brushes, varying sizes of DIY brushes again, a flat dry brush and a small detail brush. It's a size 4. And so, without further ado, I will start my painting. And here we have the finished model, the finished scene. As you can see, I've finished off the tiny details, the corrugated roof, corrugated sheets and metal. Those were done initially with the black undercoat, following that with a dry brush of tin bits in areas where obviously tarnishing would affect, and the rust effect was added with a two dry brush technique. The first dry brush was stippled on with a vermin brown, very light stippling, and applying on top of that an hobgoblin orange, or an orange, to give a rust effect. The wooden buttresses, as I said, they were made from actual branches, and then they were all done in a base coat of scorched brown, followed by either you can use vermin brown again, dry brushed, or even snakebite leather. Then pick out the details with a very light brown. I used an old Games Workshop pot again, Citadel pot of spearstaff brown. I've had that for some time, kept it nice and liquidy, stopped it drying up. Spearstaff brown will pick out the highlights on the wood. The only other alternative additions now would be the actual mortar, which I have scratch built again from separate parts, and my additional little jerry can, a oil drum, and a little galvanised bucket. Again, all done dry brushing. It doesn't have to be a mortar pit. You could make it an artillery fixed position or any other sort of position that you want, but you can see the final finished detail.